sitting here talking to my wife about this prophetic word, one thing that came to my mind was just this aspect as far as like how far behind the church is to the kingdom of darkness. And I've seen it with the younger generation to a degree where I don't think I recognized just how significant it was until I saw a loved one that is from the younger generation and just how absorbed in their phone they are. And so what God was showing me, or what the Most High has been showing me, something I've seen for a while, but it's like a refreshing reminder as far as why the church is failing, is because you got to understand church attendance has been on decline for several years. It was exasperated in 2020 for all of the dynamics and the reasons that were going on at that time. But then also the reality is, it's like the church has to shift with the times. Shifting with the times does not mean you compromise sin. Shifting with the times does not mean the Old Testament no longer exists or the law doesn't exist and different things like that. Shifting with the times means you have to adapt your strategy and your tactics for the war that we exist in this season, right? A lot of people are using antiquated tactics against the kingdom of darkness, and they wonder why no one is in their church. They wonder why no one is responding to their messages. They wonder why they can't reach the youth. Well, for several years, the enemy has been conditioning your child to not come to your church, but to exist in the domain where he has full reign and control, which is this artificial digital domain, right? You're talking to your child and they're not listening to anything you're saying because they got AirPods in the entire time. You're talking to your child, or you're going to place an order at a restaurant and the person ain't even listening to you because they can't hear you because one AirPod is in one ear and the other ear is open, so they're struggling to hear you because they've got something in the ear that's talking to them, that's reading text messages, that's playing music, that's programming them at all levels of society. They're engaged in social media when they're not on work. They're engaged in social media when they are at work. Everyone uses TikTok like it's a Bible, so they get these 15-second snippets from people they don't know from a can of paint, right? Don't know them from Adam and Eve, but they take what they're saying as though it's gospel because it sounds good, right? The vain philosophies of man. So the church has done a horrible job because we are still trying to get individuals to come to the building when they no longer exist in a world where they have to come to the building. They don't even want to go to their job. Everyone wants to work remote. Everyone wants to work from home. Everyone wants to just do something where they can flip digital currency or make a quick flip. Nobody wants to come to a building anymore, right? Even when it came out, like before Zoom became popular, Twitch, all these other modern streams, like this stuff is not new. I forgot what it was, but back in the early 2000s, they had another show. There's another platform where you could just hop up there, game and talk and everything. Like this stuff happens consistently, but people are willing to not even go hang out with their friends. They just get on and do a Zoom call. They get on and stream together. They just isolating their screens. So it's like the church has to shift with that and recognize that and understand how to do it. It doesn't mean you just record your lessons, you put it online. How are you getting into the streets? How are you getting into these internet streets? We talk about street preaching. This ain't just posting a post on Facebook and arguing. No, like what are you doing to actively understand how to function in that digital environment so you can get into that digital environment to evangelize, to witness, to bear witness, right? And it could be something as simple as, it just might sound like a silly example, but one of my gamer tags is Meet Jesus, right? So when I'm playing, people see Meet Jesus. And it sounds silly, but you'll be surprised what people say when they see that, right? But then we start having conversations about it and different things like that. So like everything, man, everything matters. And the scene is shifting. The scene is shifting. And the body of Christ has got to try to stop trying to force people to come to the building. The war is outside those walls in a whole nother level. Why are they going to come if they don't have to? Why are they going to come to your building when they can just pull up whatever they want to scratch their ears online? You have to invade the sector where they are. If the enemy has already invaded, even if they come to your church and they got an AirPod in, or even if they come to your church, on the way to your church, they listening to everything. As soon as they leave, they listening to everything. Like, you have to go to where they are. The enemy has access to your people, to our people, 24/7. We have to put ourselves in a position that we understand that because that access is there 24/7, we have to invade and engage in a way where we have access to them in the same capacity along those lines. Hopefully all that makes sense, but we got to shift the tactics. What worked yesterday is not going to work today. It's definitely not going to work tomorrow. There ain't no church fly, ain't nobody coming. They don't want no fish fry. They ain't trying to hear that. They're not trying to hear that. They got questions. They need answers. If you're a teacher of the word, if you have the purpose of teaching, you need to learn how to teach. Whether you go and just get a certificate and understand hermeneutics and how to break down Hebrew and Greek and break down the truth of the word, whether you actually just get a legit degree or certificate and get properly trained on an academic level on how to teach, whatever it is, you need to get in position. There's a lot of people that are not taught and have not been taught, and they got questions. And they need somebody to give them answers. But because we don't understand what's happening, we sit on our gifts, and the devil got his people teaching everywhere. So the question I have for you is, what are you going to do to offset the attacks of the enemy? And how are you going to shift your tactics to match the tactics of the enemy so that way we can wage war effectively in the body of Christ? Shalom.